What's up, everybody? My name is Adam. This is a year in the life of a 40-year-old youth pastor, and today we have some special guests coming in all the way from Maryland. Actually, they're not going to be coming here. They're still in Maryland, and I'm here, and because of technology, we're going to talk to them. It's going to be really, really cool. Here's how this came to be. Back last fall in September, I got to go to this youth ministry conference called the DYM 200. DYM is Download Youth Ministry. They put on this really cool conference, and I was at that thing, and because of all of my transition from Colorado to Michigan, wasn't 100% sure if I was going to be able to go to this thing, so I didn't book a hotel or a place to stay or anything. Well, it turns out I was able to go. I was able to book my plane tickets, and then it came close, and I was like, shoot, I didn't book a place to stay. I'm thinking I could get a hotel. This is going to be kind of expensive. Instead, I hit up these guys on Facebook, and I saw they were getting a house, what we call a party house. Like 10 guys were all coming together to get this house, and I said, hey, do you guys have any space? And they're like, actually, we've got room on our couch. You can sleep there. And I was like, yes. So I got to know these guys through hanging out at their house that they had hooked me up and let me stay at, and went to this conference together, and I learned that they had a podcast called Youth Ministry Sherpas. I also learned that these guys have been in youth ministry for decades. Steve's been at his church for 19 years at the same church. Matthew's been at his church for 15 years, but been in ministry for many, many years more than that, serving at other churches. So these guys run a podcast called the Youth Ministry Sherpas. And I'm telling you, this is a great podcast. I started listening to it, found a lot of value in it. It's fun, it's helpful. I would encourage you to go and check it out. But anyways, without any further ado, I asked Steve and Matthew if they'd answer a few questions. And so here we go. Question number one. What advice would you give for a younger youth pastor, maybe somebody who's been doing this for 5 years or less?
First thing I'd say is pace yourself. You don't want to burn out like 3 years in.
Yep, for sure. Build a team around you. Find some people that are really good at the things you're not good at.
Definitely true. Another thing I'd say is, don't take yourself so seriously. You're really not that big a deal. You've got a lot to learn. Listen to the wisdom of your elders. Listen to the other people in your church, people on your staff, and do your best to support everybody around you.
Absolutely. And then I think our final piece of advice for younger youth workers under 5 years of ministry is say no to lock-ins.
No lock-ins.
Don't get on that train now. If they're bad for you, you'll like them now, but when you're here, not so much. Say no. Say no.
Love it. I said no to lock-ins like 7 or 8 years ago. One of my best youth ministry decisions ever. Anyways, next question is, what's your best advice for youth pastors that are older, maybe 40 and above?
Well, I'm 54. You're 50.
I am.
And so we'd say, man, you were just hitting your stride. You were just getting started. You were like in the middle of the journey. You are in the center car on the train. It's great. You're awesome. Keep at it. You got a long way to go. And don't think you're old, because you're not.
No, man, you're just hitting your stride. So great. Yeah, absolutely. Advice I would have for youth workers hitting their 40s is don't try too hard to be hip to the kids. You don't have to be 70. I mean, I think wearing Wolves Howling at the Moon t-shirt, that's okay.
Can I wear ripped jeans?
Absolutely, you can totally wear ripped jeans. Yep. But responding to your students, totes my goats, probably, that just is, you look dumb.
It's not going to play well.
Yeah, it doesn't play well. Unless you're trying to look dumb, then go ahead.
True. Last piece of advice I'd say is accept your declining dodgeball skills.
It's so hard to accept, though.
It is.
But the spring retreat.
I used to be so good at this, but
I could just annihilate kids, and now it just,
one throw and I'm like,
exactly. Yeah, just embrace it.
Okay.
Become the ref.
Get the whistle.
It's so funny because literally like 2 years ago, I started having to be the ref for the dodgeball tournament. Loving this guy's such good advice. All right, next question is, if somebody wants to do youth ministry for the long haul, what's your advice for them?
Boy, do we think this is a great question.
This is the top.
This is where it's at. You want to be in student ministry in your 50s.
Right.
You want to be in student ministry for 25, 30, 40 years. So, advice. First thing, get involved in a network. Find some like-minded people who get it, who understand, right here, who understand, who get it, who know your stories. They know the hardships that you face. They know the joys that you get to experience. Find those people, link arms with those people, go to conferences together, rent vacation houses together, swap stories. it will keep you in the game for a long time.
Your tribe is everything.
Absolutely.
Second thing I'd say is be a team player at your church. Support your senior pastor, support the church leadership. Do everything you can to be a person of integrity who earns the trust of leadership and is always supporting people around you. If you're a team player and people know that they can trust you, your senior pastor knows you have his back, things are going to go well for you in your church. You're going to be able to stay in, not only in youth ministry, but maybe even in one place for the long run. And that is the ultimate youth ministry goal.
Absolutely. A very sweet spot to be in the same place for a long time. And then lastly, I think just be a lifelong learner. Read books. I'm not a reader, but you got to read books. You got to stay fresh. You got to stay after it. Go to conferences. Choose conferences wisely. Listen to podcasts.
Watch videos on YouTube.
Youth Ministry Sherpas podcast would be a great podcast for you to listen to. Self-promotion there, but that's it. But yeah, lifelong learner. Like, we've never arrived. There's the culture changes. The culture changes so fast and so quickly that we've got to be engaged in staying on top of it and being a lifelong learner. So get after it.
Check out Youth Ministry Sherpas podcast. I'll put a link in the description of this video. You can just click on it and go to it. But I listen to it a lot. Good stuff. It'll help you to be a better youth pastor. This has been so good, guys. Final question. What's the biggest difference between doing youth ministry like in your 40s and above versus doing youth ministry in your 20s?
Lots of differences.
Yeah, too many. One thing I would say is in your 40s and up, is you can really find this unique voice of leadership within your church, because if you've been there a while, you now have this gravitas, this trust that you can use to speak into the greater church body in a more powerful way than ever before. Like, it's really cool when you get the opportunity to be part of a team that's really setting the vision and the course of a church direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You'll also get bigger words like gravitas. If you're older, I didn't have that word in my 20s for sure.
That's why you got to keep learning.
Absolutely. And it's also, again, it's about developing other leaders.
Right.
As you get into those older years, there are people coming up behind you, volunteers, students, interns, maybe staff people, depending on your situation, that are younger, that are where you were, and you need to develop those people to be the leader that you are now. And so you need a lot more time spent with developing leaders than necessarily, playing dodgeball and basketball.
Give them the grace to make mistakes, but trust them with real responsibility too, and really focus on encouraging other people to follow and become leaders in your wake.
Yeah, somebody trusted you when you were in your 20s. Somebody trusted me. I don't know why they did, but they did trust me when I was in my 20s, and it's paid off.
The last piece of advice we have is get a foam roller, because you got to stretch. You got to get loose before the dodgeball game or the pickup basketball game after youth group, or you're going to pull a hamstring, and you're going to be of no use to anyone.
It's so different now going to like the retreats, because I remember when I was in my 20s and I'd go to the retreats and I would play 3 hours of football and 4 hours of basketball. I'd just be going, it'd be fine. Now, if I play basketball for an hour, I am done for the weekend. So I have to actually choose my moments wisely to jump into the physical aspect of youth ministry, and when I need to be on the side going, hey, that looks really great.
Last night we were playing wiffle ball at a picnic at my house, and afterwards my Achilles are killing me, and it's because I didn't stretch.
Yeah.
So get a foam roller. Get loose. Don't hurt yourself.
And every now and again, sit on the sidelines and cheer other people on during the games.
Good advice.
All right, that's it. For now, Sherpas out.
Guys, thank you. Such good stuff. You guys are an inspiration to me that I can keep doing this for another decade after that. I'm inspired by you guys. I appreciate you guys, what you do as youth pastors, what you do to invest in other youth pastors. Love you. Keep up the great work. Youth Ministry Sherpas, everybody go and check out their podcast. You're going to love it. It's going to help you big time as a youth pastor. So that's day number 153 done. I'll see you all tomorrow.